Alabama comes away with a victory by a score of 80-73. Now, the biggest storyline and pretty much what everybody is talking about today, this morning, is the fact that Mark Sears was benched in the second half of this game. Now, Coach Oats, after the game, never really went into details, nor does he have to. It's his team. What happens on his team, it's his team, right? But I started tying this into the fact that I think it really sends a message. And I don't think it sends a negative message by any stretch of the imagination. I think there's some people that might go to, I know Mark Sears' mother went to social media. Look, I don't even want to talk about that. That's like Facebook stuff. But what is fact and what is reality is I think that Nate Oats has sent a message to his team that, look, he is not afraid to do what's best for his team. Now, again, we have no idea why Mark Sears was benched, but it's Nate Oats' team, and nobody is bigger than the team. And Nate Oats, his number one job here is not to make friends. His number one job here is to win basketball games, okay? Win basketball games and put players that are performing at the highest level out on the court. And sometimes you have to sub out somebody for whatever, and that's okay, all right? Because, look, just as Brian is saying inside the comment box, yo, Nate isn't playing. And you know what? I honestly think that will be the catalyst of the best Alabama basketball that we've seen yet. I don't know if it'll be up in this next coming game. They actually have a gauntlet here pretty soon. But look, you have to send a message. And anytime that you're in an alpha position, you have to make uncomfortable decisions. That comes with leadership. Your job is not to be friends with Mark Sears. Your job is to coach the team and to have the team perform at the highest level, whether that's at Coleman Coliseum, whether that's at Rupp Arena. Your job is to put the best players on the court, just as it's your responsibility to put the best players on the field. If you've played competitive sports before, you understand that sometimes the best player needs to sub his ass out, and he's not going to do that. It takes the head coach with the stones to do it, and it's hard to do it because people's feelings are involved. People are going to talk about you in a negative way. We don't even know what Sears was benched for. We don't. And honestly, this is a good thing in my opinion, because I'm willing to go out and say that Mark Sears will come back from whatever it is. I have no idea. I don't think anybody knows, but I think he comes back and he's like, yo, let's lock in. Let's get to work. I've been benched before. So what? Next game mentality. But I think overall, I think the players understand. They're like, yo, number one, we need to understand that we can win without Mark Sears. This isn't a one-person team. This team is way too talented to rely on just Mark Sears. Okay, now Alabama was going to win that basketball game whether Sears played or not. But I think it shows you that this team couldn't win because they are so deep. And these teams, like Holloway balls out. Phylon balls out, right? I don't think it's a negative thing at all. I really don't see anything. I really never seen anything negative around Sears. But I think from a coaching perspective, this was the right thing to do. It's your team, Nate. Your job is to win basketball games. And I was tying it into this, and I started thinking about this a little bit more, okay? I think that Kalen DeBoer, one of the biggest failures that he had this past season was not doing the same thing that Nate Oats did against LSU. You had opportunities to do this past season, and you failed to do it. Now, are you a failure overall? Of course not. Can you learn from it? Hell yeah, and you better, because everybody is looking at this and this, all right? There was plenty of times where Coach Kalen DeBoer could have substituted Jalen Milroe, not for the rest of the season, for a half, for a quarter, for a game, to get a reality check. Sometimes it's like jumping your battery. He never did this. He had opportunities to do this, and he didn't do it. So we hope going forward, when you have a quarterback battle like you do coming in, that you have the stones to play the best player to not make people happy, but to win games. And it's hard for coach. Let's look at this from another perspective, okay? And this is the world that coaches live in now, all right? If this kid is unhappy, he goes to the transfer portal. You have to be brave enough right now in the coaching world to be like, you know what? We can win without you. If development and understanding your place on this team, if this isn't the right place for you, there's another program, a transfer portal away. But this is how we're going to run things here. We're going to run things off development. But number one, we're going to put the best players on the field. And if you're not performing at the highest level, whether that's the third quarter or whether that's the start of a championship game, it's my job as the coach to sub you out. This is a team. And our number one job as a team is to win a national championship. And then I started tying it to this, okay? You know who had to do that? This guy right here. And this is why Coach Saban is the greatest of all time. Coach Saban was placed in one of the most difficult positions during that championship game because the quarterback that he had rolled with and kind of almost had the same thing going on with Coach Kalen. I think there was times where he maybe felt he should have played Tua Tagovailoa earlier in that season. Well, the championship was on the line. And they couldn't get it done with Jalen Hurts. Everybody remembers this, okay? Was it a difficult decision for Coach Saban to make? Hell yeah, I think this is something that was a difficult thing that he reflects on. But guess what? That's how you win championships, is being able to make uncomfortable decisions regarding your team for the well-being of the team. Yo, this is what you were paid to do this. Does it make people uncomfortable? Yeah, it does. Coach Saban had to sub out one of his favorite players, Jalen Hurts, because he wasn't getting the job done. And Tua came in and got the job done. And the job done, meaning this, raising the national championship trophy over your head as a team. As a team. And I would imagine that everybody on this team continues to have that high level of respect. And you see it. You saw it on the Pivot podcast, the way that these guys interact with Coach Saban, because Coach Saban, they knew and they respected him and they trusted him to make those difficult decisions. Nobody on the team is making decisions. You can't have somebody on the team running the team. The coach needs to run the team. That's how it operates. Period. And that's why Coach Saban is the greatest. And that's how you earn respect, is by making difficult decisions. It's hard, man, because people get upset emotionally. Emotion is not part of the team. The team mentality outweighs individual emotion. Period. If you guys think I'm like upset this morning, I'm not. I'm chilling. I feel good today. It's just, I had to talk about that in kind of that tone, because that's the coaching tone. That is the mentality that you need at this level, right? That is the mentality that we want to have for Alabama football. Yo, 4 losses might be normal to another program. It's not, that is nothing part of the standard here. Losing to an unranked team is not the standard here. Man, this coffee's hot. All right. But don't think like I'm like in some like foul mood. That's the truth. And that's something that we're watching. That is something that we are absolutely watching going forward, not only with Alabama basketball. I think Alabama basketball is fine and they're a serious contender. And I think whatever happens going forward, I think it's going to be positive for Alabama basketball. I really do. This is my last thing. I predict that Mark Sears, whether it's this next game or down the road, you will see him perform at the highest level. You will see this team continue to trend in the upward direction because of its depth, because of the schedule that they played in the beginning of the season, because of this gauntlet of the SEC. But most importantly, it's because of Nate Oats right now. And Nate Oats can make the difficult decisions, and he knows he has to, because he understands where he set the standards. Like, look, we're excited about a Final Four. We won a championship here. Okay. I'm gonna say something else, okay? And this is probably gonna make a lot of people uncomfortable. All right, but I have to say it. You fans at these basketball games on court side or around, and I know the students are doing their best job. The Crimson Chaos, I love these guys. You need to give this team the atmosphere that it deserves, because these games are sleepy at Coleman. It's kind of sad to watch games at Coleman compared to other venues. I don't know how you fix that, but like people sitting down like with the arms crossed when it's like a 2-point game, that's not it. No energy. No energy. You want people on the court trying to touch you, like making it uncomfortable. I don't think teams that come to Coleman are uncomfortable. I really don't. Does the atmosphere, can it get loud? Yeah, but it's kind of sleepy.